right, everybody, we're going to get started. My name is Miss Shembri. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the activities director here at Del Mar, and I will let my colleagues introduce themselves.
Hi.
Christy.
Sorry, I'm too pumped. I'm Christy Geist. I'm one of the counselors here at Del Mar, and I keep getting distracted by scrolling through the attendees list because I see all the names on here, and it's making me super happy to see everybody.
Awesome. And Mrs. Chase?
Hi, I'm Mrs. Chase. I am the yearbook teacher and the gov teacher, and I'll be talking today about yearbook stuff.
Yay. And also Miss Diaz is here joining us. She's translating for our Spanish speaking family. So thank you, Miss Diaz, for being here. So we're going to get moving and grooving, everybody. I also want to make a little announcement. The chat is closed, but you'll notice the Q&A box is open. Please utilize that for questions. I can't promise that we'll get to all of them today. However, we will be putting a bit.ly up at the end here. If there's any questions that come up during this presentation that you don't hear the answer to and that are still lingering, please submit them there, and we will use that to drive the topics for our next webinar. And if we have time, we will get to them. So, and answer them the best that we can. Christy, I already forgot. Is this me or you?
I believe it is me. Sorry, I was getting a Q&A already. Same old, same old. Hi, we're here. We're going to continue to be here. We have a couple more of these planned. This webinar series normally happens in person when everything else is in person, but we don't want seniors to miss out on all the information that we have coming up. We know there's been a lot of questions as well, so we want to get those answered. So today is day 1 of our webinar series. We will be recording all the presentations. This one's already recording. And posting those videos for students. The presentation that we're going through today is the same one that we'll be using each week. So we will also have that posted for students to access afterwards. We're going to go over the important to-dos, things that seniors need to make sure that they take care of before graduation, the information that we know currently, things that we are working on and upcoming events that are in progress, as well as the next steps and reviewing when the future webinars are going to be happening. So if you do have questions, you can put them in the Q&A. If we're not able to get to them, because we know that our time is a little bit limited, we will have an option for you to submit questions for us to cover at future webinars. So there's always a lot of good questions out there. Please feel free to ask. But if we don't get to it today, don't worry, we will.
Awesome. All righty. So this is the senior to-do list. There's a couple things on here you should have already done. The first being that you should have ordered your cap and gown. I want to make sure this is heard loud and clear. The deadline has passed, but I don't want you to panic. If you didn't get a cap and gown and you did not place your order, that's okay. We always get extras. That's the good news. So don't worry. The caps and gowns are here. They have been delivered to Del Mar High School. They are currently in my office, and I will talk a little bit more later on about when you will get that. So no more stress on the cap and gown front. If you ordered, you're set. If you didn't order, you're still set. So that's the good news about caps and gowns. Senior portraits, the deadline for that has also passed. These are the 2 things you should have done, cap and gown and senior portrait. If you still want to take a senior portrait for fun and for your family and to just have as a memento, you can always do that. You can have a photo shoot whenever you want. I highly encourage that you do that for you and your family. Actually, it's really a nice thing to have. However, you have missed the deadline to be in the yearbook. So I put the phone number here for Now and Forever Studios. That's who we use for our photography needs. Again, since this isn't going in the yearbook at this point, if you want to be photographed somewhere else or somewhere that you like, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Another thing is coming up immediate that you will need to do that we'll go more in depth about in a little bit. Order your yearbook, submit your free senior ad for the yearbook that Mrs. Chase is here to talk about. We're going to talk about senior salutes, which is something we started last year that I'm super excited we're bringing back. So we'll talk about those. And then we have a big long list of things to mark on your calendar and dates that are coming up for seniors.
All right, so the major thing to know is that we are super excited to celebrate you and proud of you. We miss you like you would not believe. So we can't wait to be able to celebrate together as soon as we can. We have started a class of 2021 senior page on the Del Mar website. If you had friends who were graduated last year, some of this might be familiar to you. You saw some of the virtual celebrations that we were doing. We are planning to continue the celebrations this year. The entire month of May is going to be dedicated just to seniors. And so we'll be doing recognitions throughout the entire month, including as many in-person events as we can possibly do under the guidelines that we have. So we've got a lot of events that are kind of in progress that we are working on to welcome students and families to campus to celebrate all of your hard work over the last 4 years. And we will be putting updates out as soon as we can for those. Senior finals, I know it's only March, but we are talking about senior finals. Senior finals are scheduled for Monday, May 24th and Tuesday, May 25th. This is when you will take your final exams for all of your classes that you're taking at Del Mar. Final grades are due by the end of that week, Friday, May 28th. What that means is that we get notified for all seniors what their grades are at the end of the school year. And for seniors who are not able to pass classes by the end of the year, we start making contact with families to come up with some other alternatives to make sure that you can get your credits. But you will take your final exams May 24th and Tuesday, May 25th. Graduation will be in person. We are super pumped to welcome you back and celebrate you. And those plans are in progress for how it will work. But we are planning graduation for the end of this year.
So things we're still figuring out. These webinars are going to be full of both of these categories. As you all know, a year into this pandemic now, that there's always things that we're constantly still figuring out, and things may change. But these are the things that are on our radar. So graduation is June 3rd. I say most likely because with all of the things at play with how to execute a pandemic graduation, we need to work with different companies who may film or make it so that we can broadcast it to other people. And I'm hoping to secure everybody for that June 3rd date who we are working with. Last year's graduation got moved to the next day just because the companies we were using, that's what they had on their calendar. I am 99% sure it's on June 3rd, but I just wanted to make sure that I put it out there that you know, there could be a very slight chance it's not, but I'm hopeful that it will be June 3rd. We are working on some homecoming festivities. Homecoming has been moved to the spring this year, which I'm so glad we did because we can get some in-person things for you. These 3 things that are listed on here, we are working on right now in ASB. We're going to do a senior sunrise, a senior sunset, a coronation that's in person for our homecoming royalty. There will be a movie night in there. So this is under things we're figuring out because we just actually got new guidance from the state today about in-person gatherings. So we're kind of constantly going through those to see how we can accommodate the most amount of students to have a share in some of these events. Senior best and most, I don't know if I think Mrs. Chase will probably talk about that here pretty soon. So for the yearbook, ASB is also working on a senior versus staff. We're hoping to get some of that in person so you can enjoy that super fun senior tradition of playing different games against the staff
and beating us and everything,
and beating us probably because most likely you'll be like playing against me, and it's not going to work out for the staff this year, I think. Anyway, senior checkout, this is a big one. We're going to give you the date for that in a little bit, but that is where you will come turn in all your items, books, computer, any sports gear you got, all the things that Del Mar may have issued you. That is where you will bring it back and do all kinds of other things. So that will be coming up. And then also the last thing we're figuring out is all these in-person events that we're hoping to bring you back for. So senior awards night, last year we did a virtual one. This year we're hoping to have an in-person one. Celebration of the arts to celebrate our performing arts program. We'll be doing a little AVID celebration for our students in senior AVID. And last but certainly not least, an IB celebration for our students in the diploma program and any students who are in IB art. So those are some things to look forward to that we're still kind of working out the details, but we want to make sure that we alert you that they're front of mind for us to get you on campus to do some of these things. I think this is also me. Okay, great. Senior salutes. This is something we started last year, and we are super excited to bring it back. This is where we will virtually honor any senior who participates. This is open to all 320 of you. And you will be able to submit on this Google form, bit.ly/2021 senior salute form, your name, a picture, multiple pictures. You can thank people. You can say what you're doing next year, what your plans are. You can talk about memories you have from Del Mar. It's totally up to you how you want to utilize that space. It will go on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, and just be out there for others to cheer you on and celebrate you. It's a nice, fun thing that we started last year, and we're super excited to bring it back. Forms are due for this Sunday, April 18th. So just kind of mark your calendar with that date. These slides are also going to be posted in your advisory Google Classroom, so you can go click this link and just access it that way. Here are some examples from last year. They're beautiful. They're super fun. You can, again, submit as much or as little as you want, and just be proud of yourself. Think about all your accomplishments and everything you've done, and have a minute to reflect on your time at Del Mar and your time in high school. So we want to make sure that we encourage as many students as possible to do this, because one of our huge goals is to make sure that every single senior is celebrated in some way. And we are really, really excited that we get this opportunity again. So please make sure you fill that out. And this is for all of our families, parents, and guardians on this call. You also have the chance to celebrate your senior. There's another form for you on here, bit.ly/2021 senior parent form. We want to see you celebrate your senior. So a couple of those have already popped up on our social media pages, and they are just adorable and so fun to see. So we want to make sure that you also have a chance to celebrate your senior and have others celebrate with you, because I know that this is a big year for senior families. So we want to give you that chance as well. So this is also a hyperlink here. I can make sure that this gets sent out in an email to parents, and you can also see them on our website at this link right here.
That's me. So kind of going right with that idea of celebrating seniors, we want to make sure that we make some of those celebrations permanent, right? So it's not a surprise, it's been a very wacky year, but we are still having a yearbook, and the goal has sort of been to kind of tailor it to be more seniors first, right? So there's not a ton of things. Obviously, we had no events from the whole first half of the year. So what we do want to do is make sure that everybody gets a space in the yearbook to sort of have their time, right? If you would have been in the play, but there's no play, or you would have played a sport, but maybe you're not playing it, we want to make sure you have time to be celebrated. So every single senior gets a free eighth of a page. So if you picture a page and then divide it into 8, and it's sort of like the same idea of the senior, what did you call them, Ms. Shembry?
The senior salutes.
The senior salutes, but kind of a smaller version of that, because as you can imagine, we could get 300 of them. So it's a spot to share your favorite photos, your favorite memory, celebrate your accomplishments, give shout outs or thank yous to anyone who's been there for you, or to give advice or words of encouragement to anyone. Those are the topics that we're accepting. Here is where these sorts of things are really painful for me, is when I have to read through 300 and try to figure out what it is that you're saying. So these are the topics that we're accepting. They should be complete sentences. They should be written out and understandable by everybody, right? This is a spot to say things, and not like, put a bunch of things that we don't understand. So it needs to be clear for everyone. So it needs to have your whole name clearly written in some way. But other than that, kind of like what it looks like and how it's organized and whether it's pictures or words is up to you. And those are due by April 23rd. So April 23rd to get your spot in the yearbook, and that will print for everybody to see. So also, I know that a lot of senior families are asking about their chance to do that for you in the yearbook. So while every senior is getting an 1/8 of a page, families and guardians can get up to a full page ad in the yearbook to celebrate you also. So the 1/8 page size is free for them also. And then the prices for a 1/4 page, a 1/2 page, and a full page go from $25 to $100. That is like a third of what they usually are. A full page is usually $300. So we dropped all those prices this year, hoping that they would be able to celebrate you more easily. So they can do sort of that same thing that I'm asking you to do, put in baby pictures, put in current pictures, whatever they want to celebrate you. The really great thing is the link to do all of the things, your ad, your family or guardian's ad, and to buy a yearbook is all the same link. So when you click on that tree ring link, it's going to take you to a place where you can do anything that you want. This is also the company that lets every single person design 2 pages that go in just their yearbook. So I want to put pictures of just me and my friends. It's not going to print for everybody. It's just going to print in my yearbook. You can also do that, and that's free, and that's where you can do any of those things. Other than that, we're really hurting for pictures of your faces. We need pictures of you guys doing anything you've been doing this time, hobbies, masks, sports, anything that your pets, anything that you've been up to. So there's a link there also to share photos with us. The yearbooks are going to be shipped to your home in the summer. We're doing that because we will be covering graduation will be in the yearbook. So I'll still be working on it mid-June, and then they'll be shipped to you about 4 weeks after that. If you have any questions about any of those things, I'm your person to contact. So let me know how I can help you. But that deadline, that April 23rd, for any of the things that you want printed in the yearbook, any kind of ads, is a hard deadline, and I can't change that. So you can buy the yearbook after that, but you just can't do the ads and stuff. And then we will be working on Senior Most. They'll be coming to you in chunks of like 5 through a Google form, and just answer those, and we'll be asking for you to send in pictures. I think that's it. That was like 1,000 things, but I think that's it.
I love it. And also, I just want to reiterate one thing you said, Mrs. Chase. There's no deadline to order the yearbook, right? Like you can order the yearbook all the way to June 3rd. Or
yeah,
right?
Yes, you can buy it after June 3rd. You can buy it next year if you want to. That's the beautiful thing about Tree Ring. Just really quickly, someone's asking about senior quotes. The senior celebration is in place of your senior quote, right? So that little spot for you to say one of those things is what you're supposed to say in a senior quote anyway. So that is what that's designed for. You actually are getting way above and beyond what any class has ever gotten in terms of your ability to like share something. So you're welcome.
Awesome.
The yearbook costs $51.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Chase.
Wow. Look at all those dates. Wow. Just as a side note, there are questions coming in the Q&A. If you have submitted one, we will get to it. We'll get to it at the end of the presentation, or post it in the presentation, or for next one. So if you've submitted one, thank you. We will get to those. There are a lot of dates coming up this semester. This is kind of a snapshot of some of the important ones that we want to make sure that seniors know. Mr. Lopez is going to be hosting a question and answer session for families on March 23rd. There will be 2 sessions that are open, so you can join either one, you and your families. We'll have that information at the end of this presentation so that you can see it. 12-week grades are coming up in April. So I know we just passed the 6-week grading period. The next grading period is coming up in April. It's mid-April. So that's when the next set of grades will be coming out as your progress notice, followed by our next webinar on April 14th, right before tax day. Homecoming week is scheduled for April 26th through 30th. So as Ms. Shembri mentioned, they are planning a ton of events and ways for students to get involved with homecoming this year. The senior survey that we give out every year to our graduating class will be sent out through teacher outreach or advisory on May 5th. The senior survey is mandatory. It's part of your checkout process. You'll be updating us on your plans after high school, answering a brief set of questions. We've really cut it down over the years to get the most important information from students. but it's really helpful for if you are taking IB exams and you need your scores sent. The senior survey tells us where you need your scores sent, as well as your final transcript. So for students who are graduating and going on to any kind of post-secondary education, community college, four-year college, letting us know where you plan to attend allows us to submit your final transcript by the deadline that is required by colleges. As we mentioned before, senior finals will be on May 24th and 25th. If you are taking a class through night school at CASE, the Campbell Adult and Community Education Center, the last day of night school is May 27th. So if you are enrolled in any class at night school, you need to finish it and the final exam by May 27th in order to get your final grade in time to post on your transcript. Senior checkout is scheduled for Friday, May 28th. As Ms. Shembri said, that's when you will return your Chromebook, any textbooks that you have, athletic equipment, turn everything back in on May 28th. And that's also when you will get your cap and gown, your outfit to wear for the graduation ceremony. We are working out, as Ms. Shembri said, our graduation practice and ceremony schedule. We are tentatively planning for June 3rd to be the date of the graduation ceremony. We'd like to have students participate in a practice round on June 1st and 2nd so that you and your families know kind of where you're going to be and how the whole event will work. But we will give more information on that as the guidelines allow and we get our plans set.
All right, this is just a message from ASB. Some of you may have already filled this out, but we are wanting to hear from you about what other things we can add to our senior events coming up, what priorities you have. Obviously, we can't do everything, but we want to hear what your priorities are when planning events. So if you could please go to this link, we will close this survey. It's been up for about a week, but we will close it probably by the end of this week. We'd love to hear your feedback about what you want to see and what things are important to you when planning events. The other fun thing is this voting is going to close tomorrow at about noon, at about lunchtime, but make sure that you choose your top 8 for the homecoming court so we can get that rolling. So that's also exciting. And this, again, these slides are linked in your advisory classroom. If you have any questions at all, because I'm sure you do, we did not answer everything in this presentation. This is just kind of a little snapshot of the people that you can go to for things that may come up senior related. So your guidance counselors are a great first stop. If you have any questions about grades, your grad status, college, transcripts, all of that kind of stuff, your guidance counselor contact info is up there. If you have any questions about senior activities, graduation, senior portraits, your cap and gown, anything senior activity related coming up, you can contact me, Mrs. Chase, for anything yearbook related. And then I put Mr. Castaneda on there as well, because I know sports are ramping up and are actually a lot are in full swing right now. So if you have any questions regarding athletics, you can contact Mr. Castaneda. If you haven't already, please join the class of 2021 Remind account. The guidance counselors and me, we send out a ton of updates on the Remind account. Like just this morning, I sent out this webinar link on there. We try to blast you guys messages all kinds of different places, but the Remind account is one that gets used frequently. So please, especially with graduation coming up, and especially with you guys not being physically here where I can just get you all into one space and give you the information, please join that Remind account so that you are not left out of any updates. If you still have questions that have not been answered in this presentation or that come up maybe later on in the next coming weeks, you can submit them at this bit.ly/seniorqa21, and Ms. Geist and I will do our best to work them into the next presentation. And like Ms. Geist said, if you have any questions about reopening, this isn't really the forum for school reopening questions because this is specifically about senior events, but we know that those questions do exist. So Mr. Lopez and I will be hosting 2 Q&As on March 23rd, one from 8 to 9 a.m. and one to 6:30, 7:30 p.m. On March 23rd. And we will record both of those as well. I think we did it, Ms. Geist. High five.
High five. Wow.
Where are these slides right now for students?
I'm out of breath. They should be on their teacher's advisory Google Classroom. If they're not there quite yet, it's because their teacher just hasn't gotten around to it because we gave them to them this morning. I can also ask our fantastic webmaster, Nicole, to put them on our website as well.
We'll also add them to the class of 2021 Google Classroom. So I know you've got the one that you log into with your teachers every Wednesday. We'll also post it where all of the other explorations are in the class of 2021 Google Classroom. We'll put it everywhere.
Yes, we will put this as many places as we can. We do have a couple minutes. I can see some questions here in the Q&A that I just want to kind of address, the ones that I do know. Do we know what time graduation will be? No, I don't know yet. And that is, again, going back to the guidelines, it is because if we have to split you up into groups, it will kind of be an all-day event. If the guidelines loosen up and we can have everybody together, it will be at one time. So that's kind of the TBD on the graduation front. But as soon as I know, you guys will know. Do you think prom will happen? As of right now, this is not something that fits within the guidelines. You know, having a dance usually requires people to be closer than 6 feet. With that said, if you go to that senior survey or senior event survey and fill out what your priorities are, if something that kind of represents prom is important to you all, that is something we can look at. But right now it's not really within the guidelines. Will senior lawn signs be available for purchase? Our PTSA is actually providing senior lawn signs. So those will be handed out with your cap and gown. So thank you, PTSA. What will homecoming look like for you? So homecoming is going to be a mixture of virtual and in-person events. ASB is still working on that right now. So we're hoping to put something out in the coming weeks that has like a calendar of all the events. We're looking at specifically for seniors, that senior sunrise in person, the coronation and senior sunset in person. We're hoping to have some type of like homecoming court parade type thing that will hopefully be in person if it gets approved. And then, you know, there could be a chance for coming to campus and driving through and picking up spirit gear. So there's some things in the works. We have to get everything approved by our district office, and we haven't gotten to that step yet in the planning. So as soon as we do, we'll inform students. Ms. Geist,
do you want to
take that one?
So do middle college or college advantage students at West Valley need to fill out the senior survey? And the answer is yes. You can access it through the class of 2021 Google Classroom. You can email your counselor directly, but remember, it's not going to come out until May 5th. So you definitely have time, but we do ask you to submit that if you are part of middle college or college advantage at West Valley as well.
IB predicted scores, when are those submitted? I don't have that answer. Do you, Mrs. Chase or Ms. Geist, about IB predicted scores when they're submitted?
That's happening later on this semester. It's a combination of a couple of things in your classes. Your IB teachers should be giving that information out directly to you through their classes. So you can always ask your IB teachers. The scores, when they are available, will be sent for you on behalf of you to any colleges or universities that you need them to. So you'll be able to indicate that in the senior survey. And when the predicted scores are available, we will send them.
This other question, can all grades vote for homecoming court, or is it just between seniors? So the first round, this round that I just shared with you all on that slide, is only seniors. So seniors only are nominating the top 8, and then the entire school will vote for the winners when it gets during homecoming week. During graduation, will family members be able to be present? And if so, how many will be allowed per student? That is something else. I know I sound like a broken record and I sincerely apologize, but we don't have that answer quite yet. We are waiting to see the most number of people that we can have in an outdoor gathering at that time as it gets closer. And then that's when we'll decide how many family members each student can bring based on you know, how many students we have in each group, or if we have the entire senior class at one time, that might make the number of family members lower. So there's kind of a lot that goes into it. Last year, just for like some context, Last year we did groups of about, I want to say like 25, 30 students, and everybody got to bring 4 people. This year I'm hoping to bring more students so that people can graduate with a bigger portion of their class, but I don't know what that will do to the amount of family members. But also the guidelines are a little different this year. Things are loosening up a little bit. So that's kind of one of those things that I'm just watching like a hawk to make sure that I can, and we will live stream graduation as well. So for those who can't attend, we will live stream it. Is graduation going to be in the bowl or the quad? We are planning for it to be in the bowl this year. If we graduate in groups, will the groups be based on our last name? I haven't completely finalized that yet. I am working towards a solution where you can choose who you graduate with this year. You'll be the first class who maybe won't have to graduate in alphabetical order. If I can work out the logistics of that. Again, these are all things that are front of mind and priorities, but I can't make any promises at this time just because I'm still looking at guidelines and what's going to be the safest and easiest. I did see a question about if you don't want to attend the graduation, will your diploma be mailed home? I just want to make sure that I say this out loud. If you don't want to attend the graduation ceremony, that's up to you. Please let your guidance counselor know so that we know not to expect you, and that we can pull your diploma out and make sure that it gets to you.
Yeah, and the same is true for any other in-person event. If it's not something that you or your family feels comfortable with, that's totally fine. We just want to give these as an option for students and families if they're able to attend, but they're not mandatory. We just want to celebrate you all as much as we can.
None of these things you have to come to. If your comfort level is that you don't come out to in-person events, that's totally fine too. We want to offer things to you and make sure that we kind of make up for some lost time here as best we can. But obviously, you are not required to come to school for any in-person events if that is not the space that you're comfortable in right now. And we understand that. All right. I think we hit every question in the Q&A. Wow. Okay. Look at that. Okay, everybody. I'm going to stop